insurance market in Nigeria has great potential, given Nigeria's position as Africa's largest economy, with the advantage of its young and growing population. Still, the concept of insurance in Nigeria has not been fully embraced, partly due to the irregularity of growth in the country's real gross domestic product, along with little or no enforcement effort from the appropriate authorities. This is Ladies Talking Business, and on this show we break down the concept of business to its simplest form. I am your host, Moremi, Akano. On today's episode, we will be exploring the insurance industry in Nigeria with our guest, who is one of the foremost women in insurance in Nigeria, with experience in both the government-owned companies and private sector organizations. She is the Chief Executive Officer of PeakThrust Insurance Brokers Limited, a financially biased insurance broking and consulting company. She is an associate of the Chartered Insurance Institute Nigeria, holds a fellowship of the Chartered Insurance Institute, London, and is also a member of the Society of Fellows, being a fellow of the Nigerian Council of Registered Insurance Brokers. She is an active member and participant in the mentorship program of the Women in Business, WIMBIS, and the vice president of the Professional Insurance Ladies Association. She is Bimbo Onakomaiya, also known as Bimbo Insurance. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Great.
Appreciate it.
So let's go right into insurance talk. Well, before we do that, because of those who don't understand what insurance is, can you tell us what insurance is?
Basically, I would say that insurance is an arrangement between two, entities, actually with the intention of providing protection and compensation against any occurrence, any eventuality that could bring, financial loss to one of the parties. Yeah.
Interesting. So, who needs insurance, and why do we need insurance?
I would say everybody needs insurance. I've been known to say in other fora that apart from God, insurance is the only financial instrument that I know that provides protection from the cradle to the grave. So insurance covers every part of everybody's life, right from birth to death. You could say that because of the financial protection that is involved in it, it's important for everybody to have insurance. There is different type of insurances exist. There's life insurance, there's health insurance, there's protection of your assets. So there is actually nobody, I would say, that does not need insurance. Yeah.
Okay. So tell me, can you tell us how insurance works in Nigeria?
It's very, very simple, actually. We have our supervisor, who is the National Insurance Commission. They actually supervise everybody that is active in the insurance industry, starting from the reinsurance companies who provide insurance for the insurance companies. Okay. In the event of any form of excessive loss that could cause.
So insurance companies have insurance?
Oh yeah, you can say that again. Those ones are called reinsurance companies.
Okay. So
they provide insurance for the insurance companies in the event of any form of excessive losses or payouts that could cause insolvency, of some sort for them. And then after that, there are the insurance companies who are either life companies strictly or non-life companies or composite companies. And these are the ones you can refer to as the underwriting companies. They actually bear the risks of all the insurances placed on them. Then we have the professional intermediaries like the brokers, and these ones also are guided by their charter.
Okay.
Under the Nigerian Council of Registered Insurance Brokers. We do have the agents also. These are, you can call them foot soldiers. They also report to NICOM, our supervisor, but they are attached to each of the insurance companies. And then we have a very important one also, which is the loss adjusters. These ones come into play when there are major losses, like the losses during the NSAS process. Yeah, they really do come in to adjust the claims for us, and so that we can, put everybody back in the position where they were before the incident occurred. So practically everybody is involved in this, and of course the most important are the insuring public. without which insurance will not exist. You know, you're talking of the individuals, the companies, the sports clubs, the government parastatals, the oil companies, everybody. So that's the way insurance actually works in Nigeria.
It's such a long chain that I didn't realize
yeah,
it was.
True.
Okay, so you were talking about the insuring public.
Yes.
I'm quite interested in that bit because the concept of insurance has not been fully embraced in Nigeria. And I wonder why. But in your own opinion, what do you think we can do to make it more acceptable to the general public?
I think that there is a concerted effort now to create a lot of awareness. This effort is more or less being spearheaded by our supervisor, using the social media, making people much more aware of the fact that insurances are the best way. Having an insurance policy is actually the best way of passing on the risks, and therefore peace of mind is the name of the game. Because once you can pass your risk of financial loss to somebody else who is trusted, then of course you can relax. That is not to say that carelessness will come in, but it is to say that it is important for you to know. If you have a lot of awareness about the fact that you have some responsible companies that have a supervisor governed by the rules and regulations, statutory rules and regulations, then you'll feel very comfortable passing on your risks to people. So creating this awareness is very important, and individual insurance companies do it, but at the same time, the National Insurance Commission also spearheads it.
So do you think the insurance companies as well have like a major role in preaching and quote the word out there to people? I
even think that their own situation is so much better now. They have a major role to play. They have been playing the role, but with the advent of the social media, it has become heightened. It has been highlighted. Anytime there is a major crisis and insurance comes to play, I think that's one of the ways in which the insurance companies can actually toot their horn and make people realize that you don't have to go through this crisis on your own. There's a major market fire. Everybody's wailing. Millions of dollars are lost. If the market women and men knew that they could have passed this risk onto insurance companies, it wouldn't necessarily make them careless, but it will make them have peace of mind. So the issue that is on ground is that creating the awareness that insurance is second to none. It's the first thing you should think about when you're starting a business. It's the first thing you should think about when you're thinking of having a baby. Oh yes,
insurance
baby. Oh yes, because I mean, in other climes, you can't even have a baby without having insurance. You can't go to the hospital without having health insurance. In other climes, so this is what we're supposed to be practicing in Nigeria, and I do know that now there's a lot of campaign going on and a lot of propaganda to make people realize that insurance is next to none.
I agree with you completely. So we will go on a quick break now. Please stay with us for more insurance talk after the break. Thanks for staying with us. On this episode, we are exploring insurance with our guest, Bimbo Insurance, the Chief Executive Officer of PeakThrust Insurance Brokers Limited. So please tell me can you tell me what some of the obstacles are to the insurance market growth, in your opinion?
In my opinion, I would say low awareness.
Of insurance.
That's key. I think that's very key, because if you do not know about something, then you cannot act on what you do not know. So if it has not been brought to your notice that this is a way in which you can have more peace of mind and focus on your own core competence, whether you're a market woman, you're a banker, whichever field in which you're operating, then you do not act on it. If you're a footballer and you do not know that before you go for any game, you can insure your legs and ensure that if anything happens, any form of accident happens to you, you have the insurance company to fall back on, then you would not act on it. So I think that is one of the main obstacles. However, it's been mitigated forcefully and speedily, because social media has taken off effectively. There's the electronic media, there's the print media. And the second obstacle is maybe lack of enforcement. Because there are some compulsory insurances already existing by law. However, if you don't have people to enforce it, insurance is a product or a service that is intangible. So asking somebody to part with their money when they're not actually going to see something immediately unless there is a claim becomes an issue.
I was going to talk about the trust bit. So where does that come in?
Well, the issue on ground is that if you interface with somebody, it is easy to gain their trust. When that trust is tested, when the claim does come up and that trust is tested, then you get much more entrenched. And there is a lack of trust to an extent, but it's changing drastically now because so many insurance companies have to go through the crucible before they are approved by the National Insurance Commission. Once they are approved, the taste of the pudding is in the eating. Practically all insurance claims that have met the criteria are not passed up. Insurance companies do play claims. And this is not because I'm in insurance. This is because it's really well tested now. We've had people have insurance claims running into billions, and insurance companies come together and they settle the claims once the criteria has been met.
Interesting. So we've just spoken about some obstacles. So in your own opinion, let's assume you had that magic power to change everything. What would you do to try to overcome some of these obstacles?
I think that I would go into a lot more propaganda. Because when you're meeting the need of somebody, it's easier for the person to accept whatever you are trying to market or whatever you're trying to sell. Because, like I said, insurance is intangible. It's not like when you exchange money, you pay for a table, you get the table. With insurance, you pay for something that you're not getting immediately until there's a claim.
Which can take years.
And which may never take place.
Exactly.
True. But then again, the peace of mind kicks in. Immediately you get the insurance, which you cannot quantify financially.
True.
But then again, you can now focus on your core competence, knowing fully well that there's somebody else bearing your risk. So the low awareness is one of the things, and then not enforcing it enough is another thing. All two-story buildings in Nigeria are meant to be insured. Once it is not a ground floor building and it is a two-story building, it is meant to be insured.
Compulsory.
Yes, it is compulsory. But we really are not having it being enforced. If it were enforced, it means in effect that anybody who had a claim would automatically get the claim paid because he or she would have paid for the insurance, and then there will be more peace of mind, and then there will be more trust. But that lack of enforcement is one of the obstacles.
So you would definitely advocate for that enforcement.
Enforcement by persuasion. Enforcement by persuasion is easier. Okay.
Interesting. Okay, so let's assume that I don't own an insurance company, but I want to make a business out of insurance. Is there any room for small players?
Oh, definitely. I mean, the sky is very, very wide. And so many birds can fly in it without necessarily touching each other. But what people actually think is that you have to be really high up there to participate in insurance. The only thing that I would say is that the moment you realize you're going to be taking people's money and passing it to the insurance company, then get ready to get regulated. You must be accountable once you're taking people's money. But then you don't necessarily have to be a very huge insurance player. Create a niche for yourself. Look at what happened now with the COVID situation. So many logistics companies came up because we were all locked down in the houses and we could not go out. So delivery became key. And so you now had so many logistics companies. And so you then can create insurance around the logistic companies, around the mopeds, you know, that kind of thing. So many people had their children staying at home, not being able to go to school because of the COVID shutdown. Create a niche for yourself. Focus on people that have crashes, you know, and that's a growing business because then the parents know that there is insurance for anybody that is coming to the homes to teach their children. That's
yeah.
another niche. It doesn't have to be huge. You don't have to insure the aeroplane or the ship, you know, that kind of thing. But create a niche for yourself. Get ready to be accountable.
Yeah. So you could be an agent, right?
You could be an agent.
Or
you get your
broker.
Yes, but the broker you
usually
need to have, not necessarily so big, but you must be a professional to be a broker. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, so from experience, I mean, you've been in this industry for over 30 years. What part of insurance would you say is more lucrative in Nigeria, and why?
Off the top of my head, I would say motor vehicle insurance.
Motor vehicle, okay.
Because number one, there's so many vehicles on the road. I mean, you know, you need to move from point A to point B. So your vehicle has to be on the road, and so your vehicle has to get insured. And then it's also tariff-based. It doesn't have to be huge. It could be the normal third-party 5,000 naira insurance, but just ensure that you get it. And so the more the merrier. You know, it's a law of large numbers. The more people that insure, the better. You know, so just the single mishap of one person, every other person comes in to pay for it. So it's a law of large numbers, and I think that's about the most lucrative. Yeah.
Okay. So more business conversations with our guest coming soon, right after the break. This is still Ladies Talking Business with one of the foremost women in insurance in Nigeria, known as Bimbo Insurance. Okay, so let's talk about some of the untapped areas available for women, especially in Africa.
I think that for you to make a major impact as far as the women are concerned, look at the needs of women. Most of the women, 99.9% of women, are very, very protective of their families, protective of their children, protective of their families. So when you meet their needs, as far as insurance is concerned, you've met a major need. So it's a two-way thing. One is focus on the kinds of insurances that have to do with the education of their children. That is right from kindergarten to university level. Insurances that cater for education of children will cater to the needs of every woman. Focus on the kind of insurances that would cater for retirement, because their husbands, their spouses, their better halves could pass on at any time without necessarily getting a letter from God that, you know, you are going tomorrow. So the kinds of insurances that can provide protection for them, you know, the peace of mind that, I mean, I'm not praying he should go, but peradventure he does, something else is going to come up. And then I'll have that peace of mind to take care of my family. Cater for the insurances that have to do with health. You know that women, they go through different phases of life, you know, health-wise. So those ones that cater to health insurances is one of them, whereby, you know, the kind of insurance where they can key into and have until they pass on themselves. Those kinds of insurances, women really, you know, are skewed towards it. Cater for the insurances that provide protection for their assets. Over the years, over the period of time, they do accumulate a lot of assets. Women do that. They have assets in their businesses, like if they're market women, they have houses, they have vehicles, they have, you know, assets that they want to pass on to their children. So those kinds of insurances, you know, that they would want to key into would protect their assets. That's on the one side. On the second side is to actually advance the kind of education that women can use to empower themselves. Because whenever you have a woman in a leadership role, the degree of seriousness is such that she wants to make a huge success out of it, not an ordinary success. They want to make a huge success out of it.
Go women.
Yeah, you know, go women, you know, and we have to be able to support them. Educationally speaking, they need the kind of education where they can, you know, make an impact. Leadership, entrepreneurship, because basically women they have grit, they have staying power, tenacity, and they develop relationships. And you know, insurance is about trust. Their clients don't move. They will do anything to keep the client over the years. So you need to be able to train women in that aspect of leadership, train them as marketers, train them as salespeople, train them with the kind of resources where they can keep the trust of their clients. And with that, you empower them so that even when there's a metamorphosis or when there is a change in the economy, they're very confident to move with the tide and face the challenges that come up.
I'm so proud to be a woman. Just hearing you talk about women.
No, you know, they're so customer centric. You would have a woman who would have been buying maybe her gari or so from the same market woman for 10 years.
Yes.
Going to the same salon for 10 years. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if they have a good help in the home, they would so focus on making sure even that help gets education because that help has helped them. So invariably, women are very, very loyal. Let me put it that way. You know, most women are loyal.
I agree.
And when you have loyalty, it breeds trust. When you have trust, the person can part with their money. When the claim comes up, the women will make sure that the client gets the money paid in good time, not when inflation would have set in to take up the remnants of the funds. And that way you can really you can empower them. And when you empower a woman, you're empowering a nation.
Yeah, we know what they say about empowering women, but I completely agree. Amazing views.
Yeah, good.
Okay, so let's talk about can you give us some tips on what to look out for when choosing an insurance company or before taking a cover with an insurance company?
Well, the first thing is to realize that practically all insurance companies in Nigeria have passed through the crucible of National Insurance Commission looking at everything that has to do with them with the magnifying glass. So before the National Insurance Commission will grant an insurance company license, just know that they have done their job and a very good job at that.
Okay.
That's the first thing. So rest assured on that aspect. However, with the insurance broker, you are more than likely not to make a mistake. Why is that? We've been around for a while. We know the insurance companies, we know the cultures. We know the insurance companies that would have huge claims and then wait for the top management to be around before the claim can be paid. We know the ones that will pay because they have stratified their claims, you know. We know the insurance companies that are very good with life insurance. We know those ones that are good with non-life insurances. You know, so when you go through a broker, you make the work easier for yourself. Okay. And then again, when the claim does come in, because the broker is now wearing the cap of the client, they can actually push for the claim to come out faster and quicker and better. And the insurance brokers are the ones that will come to you and explain your policy document to you so that any small point that is not clear, they would, clear the air. So as far as choosing the insurance companies, I think practically all of them are liquid. It's just that they are specialized in different aspects of insurance. So
you have to basically do your research on which works for you.
And you don't really need to do too much research if you have a broker. If you don't have a broker, well, you have 54 insurance companies, make a choice. But NICOM has done a very good job, and that much I can say.
Amazing, amazing. So very quickly before we go, what is the future of insurance in Nigeria?
I can see insurance in Nigeria taking over in the financial industry. What do I mean by that? To those of you that are not in insurance, you can say, oh, it's very far-fetched. The banks are there. But, in other climes, the insurance industry is way ahead of the banks. So it actually does depend on the way we go about it. Now, thank God, digitalization has come to our aid. And so the social media is rife with insurance products, ability to access insurance. NICOM has just licensed some macro insurance companies where you can take out insurance for as little as 500 naira. And so the normal kind of cooperative which we used to have, which some people still do have, like the ACII, cooperative, insurance has taken over and is actually taking over more. Now, the issue of pensions is there. The pensions market now runs to about probably over ₦1 trillion. Okay, it's part of insurance. Because then again, you're going to have to retire someday, maybe at age 60 or thereabout.
Yeah.
And then when you know that you have a pensions plan, either a company pensions plan or an individual pensions plan, then you're good to go. You're satisfied with it. So with the aspect of digitalization, I think insurance is going places. I think there's a very bright future. I think that many people are more than welcome to come on stream. Mentorship is the name of the game with the Professional Insurance Ladies Association, where by the grace of God, I'm the vice president. We do mentor some up-and-coming women in insurance. Now that the AFTA is coming up, African Free Trade Zone is coming up, insurance is getting ready to go, because we're not going to be left behind. We're even going to take the forefront, because we know that trade across borders is not feasible unless you have insurance for the people, for the products, and for the markets.
Amazing. Thank you so much for giving us insurance talk on the show today. And we wish you the very best.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks for watching this episode of Ladies Talking Business with our guest, the CEO of PeakThrust Insurance Brokers Limited, Bimbo Insurance. Do join us this same time next week for another episode. Don't forget to follow us on PlusTvAfrica Lifestyle on YouTube to catch up with our programs. I am Moremi Akano. See you next week.